Donald Trump thought that skipping last week's Republican presidential debate was somehow going to help him. He was going to do his interview with Tucker Carlson that aired during the debate, and sure, it got a lot of views on Twitter, but most of those are actually people scrolling through the video auto plays. That counts as an automatic view, even if nobody stops to watch it. But according to the latest polls released after that presidential debate, Donald Trump did not do himself any favors. The latest Emerson poll shows that Donald Trump actually dropped 6 points after that first Republican debate. He was polling at 56% in last week's Emerson poll before the debate. Emerson did another poll after the debate, and Trump has dropped from 56 to 50%. Now, 50% in the Republican primary, still pretty good, okay? 6 points is a big drop. If you ever drop 6 points in a poll, usually a sign that something bad has happened. And as we all know, bad things did happen to Trump last week, in addition to skipping the debate. But he's dropped 6 points, and typically that would be cause for concern. But if this trend continues, he could still skip like the next 3 or 4 debates and still be polling ahead of the rest. What he needs to be concerned about is the fact that a lot of his rivals, including Nikki Haley and Mike Pence, saw pretty significant bounces from the debate. Ron DeSantis somehow even saw a boost for himself. He went from 10% to 12%. But it was Nikki Haley jumping from 2% to 7%, and Mike Pence going from 3% to 7%. Those are big jumps. A 4-point jump and a 5-point jump for Pence and Haley, respectively. So, while Trump could afford to lose support, he can't afford for support to coalesce around any single candidate, which right now, based on those debate numbers, looks like people are starting to get in line with Haley and Pence. And even though a lot of people think that Vivek Ramaswamy won that debate, I'm actually one of those people. I think he emerged as kind of the clear victor. Not that I agree with anything he said, but, performance-wise, he did better than the other folks. He actually dropped a point. So even though people are like, oh, he did great, he also turned off more people than he gathered, and he dropped from 10% to 9%. So that's not a good showing. You don't want to be the candidate who was on top for like a week before fading into obscurity. But let's not forget, folks, we saw this play out in the last round of Republican primaries. Can we all just stop for a minute to appreciate the fact that at one point in the 2015 Republican primary, actually right before that first debate, do you know who was in the lead? Ben Carson. Dr. Ben Carson was polling at the number 1 spot. After the first debate, you know who jumped up to number 1? It wasn't Donald Trump. It was Carly Fiorina. So, crazy things happen. Debates have a way of kind of weeding out the weak folks, hyping up some folks who don't live up to the hype later on down the road, but it definitely also gets rid of the weaker points. Chris Christie is not seeing a bounce. Doug Burgum is not seeing a bounce. Asa Hutchinson, definitely no bounce. We got a lot of people that are probably not going to make it to the next debate stage, which, as I said, could lead to more support coalescing around 1 or 2 of those Republican candidates. And it's at that point that it becomes a very real problem for Donald Trump. Right now, he can survive the drop, even as others rise. He's got the numbers. They've got a lot of ground to make up. But 2 or 3 more of these, if he falls and they rise, suddenly Trump could be in serious trouble. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.